Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Richie and today we're going to be talking about the iPhone 13 mini and why I have a bit of a love affair with it. It is an interesting phone and I don't know, I felt like I had to buy one this year because I really enjoyed my time with the 12 mini last year. If you caught those videos, I'll link them down below. And I just really found myself missing the small phone experience. Like Apple does this so well, and I had my 12 Pro Max, which I used as a daily driver pretty much all last year, and I'll just put that to the side for a second. But now I've got the Fold, the 5 Gangster. This is my kind of everyday setup. This is my carry. I mean, I've been spending a lot of time at home, so just basically been using all this stuff at home. But when things return back to normal, this will be what's in my pockets. So anyways, I'm going to be splitting this video into two parts. So the first part is going to be me talking about the 13 mini and in the context of upgrading from the 12 Pro Max, or not upgrading, downsizing, I don't know, like there's a lot of similarities between these phones, which I'll go through in a second. But the first video is going to be focusing on the 12 Pro Max versus the 13 mini, which is a very unlikely comparison because I'm a very special type of user. So, I mean, this is going to cater to a lot of niche, a very niche audience. But I mean, if you're still interested in looking at a 13 model, this kind of applies and I'm going to go into detail as to what the similarities are. And maybe if you're coming from an older phone, or if you're thinking about getting a 12 or a 13, this hopefully will be helpful for you. So yeah, overall TLDR 13 mini, it's such a lovable phone. It's so cute. Look at it. It's like it fits in the palm of your hand. It's just so refreshing to have a phone this small yet so powerful. I love it. I really, yeah, as I said, it's a lovable phone. And I'm downsizing for a couple of reasons, and I'll go through them again in a second. And yeah, so okay, this this video is starting off with a little few shambles and all that, but I'm gonna try and do this live. So yeah, let's go through some disclaimers first of all. As I usually do with my phone reviews, or which I've started to do since the previous review. By the way, if you're coming from that Fold 3 review, thank you so much for engaging with that, and like it's picked up a lot of traction. So I love doing these style of videos, so I'm gonna try and do them a bit more often. But yeah, got a lot of awesome comments, awesome feedback on that video, so thank you guys so much. And if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for coming along and joining me here. If this is your first video that you're watching from me, I hope that I do well enough to hook you guys in. And yeah, let's go through those disclaimers real quick. So first of all, I'm not a professional reviewer. I'm not going to call it a review. This is kind of like a very informal review, if I want to actually put a label on it. So by all means, not a professional review. I'm just an average consumer talking about my thoughts about these devices that I use, that I paid for, and how they fit into my daily lives. I'm going to go through some quirks about these devices, and kind of try and have that extra level of personality compared to a standard review. So yeah, I am also an Apple user, so I have a slight bias towards Apple. I've been using Apple products for the past, God, like more than 15 years at this point. I definitely have a bias towards iPhones, so keep that in mind. I got a couple people calling me out on the last video saying that, just say you like Apple, like this, you're clearly an Apple. I'm not trying to hide it as well. If you've watched my previous videos, I love Apple. So yeah, that is also another disclaimer. And yeah, this video might be a little bit long, and as I said, I'm going to split it into two parts. The first one is going to be focusing on the differences, why I'm choosing to downsize or upgrade, I suppose, from the 12 Pro Max to the 13 mini, and go between some differences and what the experience has kind of been like using these phones in tandem, as well as the Fold. And then the second part is actually going to be focusing on the 13 mini and doing what I did with the Fold 3 and breaking it down, telling you what I like, what I don't like, that kind of thing. So yeah, and then last disclaimer, this video is also in the style of Flossy Carter or Zolatech or Dank Pods, where I just kind of point the camera at the thing that I'm talking about and have a chat to you guys as if you were my friends, how I'm describing these devices to my friends. You might hear a few kind of references and anecdotes from those guys, so I'm not stealing. Well, kind of am. I'll link them in the description below. Not because they need any exposure from me, but just as an as kind of a respectful thing, just to give credit where it's due, as like a reference list. So yeah, those guys heavily influence my style of reviewing, my style of video. So yeah, check them out if you kind of want to see where my philosophy. And I'm sure most of you guys have watched their videos. And I'm just gonna fix this thing because it's really bothering me. My diary is a bit of a mess today. Yeah. Anyways, I think that's the last disclaimer. So yeah, let's get into it. As I said, TLDR, this iPhone 13 mini is so cool. It's such a, again, small phone, very powerful. It's mind-boggling how awesome this package is. It nails all of the pillars of a smartphone display. Battery for the small phone is actually quite reasonable, I must admit, especially going from the 13 mini, the 12 mini to the 13 mini. It's got a really good camera. I'll describe that in a few moments. Performance is outstanding. And what's the last pillar? The design. The design is it carries it over from last year, and it's pretty much the same except for the diagonal cameras, which I have grown to like. I definitely don't mind the diagonal cameras. It looked really silly in the renders and in kind of the rumor roundups, but once you get to see it in person, once Apple came out with it, it definitely starts to make sense. So I'm normally a big phone person, which is why I went for the 12 Pro Max last year. Before that, I had the 10s Max, and I did that video comparing the 10s Max to the 12 Pro Max, and that blew up as well. Well, not blew up, but like it got a decent amount of traction, and if you're from that video, shout out to you. This has been an amazing phone, and I'll kind of do a little long-term review as well, and then talk about why I'm going to the 13 mini. But yeah, I had the 12 mini last year as well, if you guys remember that. And I love that phone. That was such a cool phone. I had it in green, which was such a cool color as well. I'm very sad that they went away with it this year, so I just got it in the midnight, the black version, I suppose. Black with a blue hint. I think you can kind of see it in this light. Let me actually open up my curtains a little bit. So right, okay. Yeah, I fell in love with the form factor of the smaller phone. It's absolutely brilliant, and I just, in public and when you're just going about your day, this is just so much easier to manage and manipulate than the 12 Pro Max. Yeah, I really miss the 12 mini, which I sold, so I decided, because this might be very well be the last mini iPhone that we get, so if that's the case, if there's no 14 mini, then this is going to be an extremely long-term phone. I'm going to keep this for a long time. Alright, now 13 mini aside, let's talk about the 12 Pro Max just for a second. I know this is a 13 mini video, but for a bit of context, this is what I've been using for the past year and a bit. And honestly, it's been an outstanding phone. It's solid in every respect. It is a beast. So I'll just go through a couple of points about the 12 Pro Max, but overall, TLDR again, I'm very impressed with the performance of this phone. I felt like what I paid for it. I've got maximum utility out of this thing, and yeah, Apple really had a winner on their hands. And to think that the 13 Pro Max is even better, if you're looking at the Pro Max phone this year, honestly, you're getting the absolute best that a smartphone can offer you. So let's talk about the 12 Pro Max. Long-term review, focusing on kind of more long-term aspects. Like, I already kind of mentioned a few things in my initial comparison between the 10s Max and the 12 Pro Max, but let's talk about durability. I think this phone has held up really well. I don't have any scratches on the display, and I'd say at least a third or even half of its life, there's been no screen protector on it. The oleophobic coating has held up okay. It does get smudged up, as any other phone would, and, I complained about that in my Fold 3. It does smudge up, but as you can see, at least as far as I can see, I can't see any scratches. There aren't any imperfections on the display whatsoever. I mean, then again, I did have the screen protector on, and that did save me a few times when I did fumble the phone a little bit, but since now it lives at home, I've taken it off to enjoy the bare screen. The side rails. One of the things that I don't like about it is just how much it picks up fingerprints, and like you can tell that the stainless steel coating just does not has not held up. Well, it's held up, but it's just not as nice as it was when the phone was brand new. I remember if you had like if you just came out of the shower and everything was nice and clean, gripping this would be so satisfying. And like the coating, you could like there's just a difference. If you had one of these phones, you'll know what I'm talking about. And where at my last job, when I got to unbox a fresh 12 Pro or a new 13 Pro, like you can just tell the difference between this old used one and the new one. Now, not the biggest deal if you're using a case, but I like to rock my phone's raw dog, especially when I'm in the house, just to feel that design, like the boxy square design. It's so satisfying. I like to feel the phone. This is a brilliant piece of design. I want to see it and I want to experience it in all of its glory. So yeah. The back, again, same story as the front, no scratches, but I did have a skin on the back. I normally have a D-brand skin on this because I was just a bit annoyed about how much it smudged. So again, now that this phone stays at home, I've taken off the D-brand skin. I've left the camera one on though because a lot of dust collected in between the camera lenses, which just frustrated me so much. So that skin stays on. Battery health as well. The battery life on this phone, let me just not put my passcode on blast. The battery on this phone is really good. No issues lasting me a day. Pair it up with a MagSafe battery and this can last you a long time. My battery health has stayed at 100%, and I'm probably quite lucky in this respect. The way I achieved it is basically I never let the phone drop below 20%. It's very rare that the phone saw state of charge below 20%. And I mean, before the MagSafe battery, I'd always charge it up to say 95 to 100%. It usually when I plug it in, by the time I want to go to bed, it's only at 95% anyways, and that's more than enough to last me through the day. Now with the MagSafe battery, you can plug it in and it just holds it at 90%, which definitely does help with battery management and battery longevity, but doesn't hurt to charge it up all the way to 100%. And also, if this is your main phone or if you're going on a long trip or something, then it makes sense to get that full charge. But overall, I've been very impressed with the battery life on this phone. Definitely miles better than the XS Max, and even that was quite good. Yeah, overall, this is a great phone. I mean, if you're shopping for one of these, I would definitely consider the 13 Pro Max. But if you can get this phone, if you don't really care for all the features that the 13 Pro Max affords you, like the ProMotion and the extra camera features and the battery life, find one of these at a discount if you can, or find one refurbished or on the used market. And then if you can get a sizable discount off of the retail price of a 13 Pro Max, I reckon this is a solid buy. So yeah, overall, impressed with the phone, very happy with the way the 12 Pro Max has performed, and I have no hesitation in recommending it if you are in the market for one. Alright, let's bring the 13 mini back in. Why am I downsizing? Well, obviously, if you figured it out already, I've got the Fold, so if I'm carrying this in my pocket and, carrying these two devices, that's a lot of... It's a lot of space in your pockets, and I wear skinny jeans, hate on me if you will, and this phone, it gets a bit big, especially if you have a case on it, and then you have this which is like almost 1.5 times the thickness, or not, no, what am I trying to say? This is about the size of 1.5 phones when you've got it in your pocket, and then when you put a case on it, it's even bulkier. So having the 13 mini is really handy when you have tight jeans. If I'm at the gym as well, this is so much more convenient because it stays in my pocket. It doesn't flop around. There's no floppage like there is with the 12 Pro Max. It doesn't fit. I mean, it fits in my pockets, but if I've got the phone in my pocket and I'm doing 100 pull-ups or a star jump, backflips and all that, no, I don't do that. Shout out to Flossie Carter. This phone's gonna fall out, and it's just really inconvenient to lob around a big phone. That's not the right word, to carry around a big phone, for lack of a better term. It's just not as convenient as having this smaller form factor. And honestly, like, all I do at the gym as well is listen to music, and maybe I'll watch or scroll through socials, and this is plenty of space to do that. Like, it even discourages you from going on your phone, which is probably a good thing, because if you spend too much time on your phone at the gym, then you're not working out. So yeah, there you go. You know what? Surprisingly, these phones share a lot of the same features. So let's go ahead and go through. I've got a bit of a list, a skeleton list. So these are the ones kind of like in my order of preference. So both of these phones have Dolby Vision HDR at 4K 60 now. So previously the 12 mini did not, only had Dolby Vision at 4K 30, and to be honest, that's all I've recorded. I've only recorded in Dolby Vision 4K 30 on this phone when I've been at my concerts and stuff, and you can see those examples on my channel. So I did Alice in Wonderland at Hidden Valley, Alice in Wonderland in Auckland and Wellington, and then Quicks and T1R. So those are some of my recent videos. They were all recorded on the 12 Pro Max in Dolby Vision, and honestly, I thought it was a gimmick at first, but when you're recording in low light and you want to capture some really good footage, this is the truth. Yeah, now that you can do 4K 60, which I would rarely use, but it's nice that it matches this. Secondly, they both have sensor shift image stabilization, and that is probably one of the most important things when it comes to recording video on a smartphone. Like, forget about optical image stabilization. It's just so much more stable. You don't get the jitteriness that you do with some OIS phones. Even like comparing the 12 Pro Max to the 12 Pro, you could just see, like, when you're walking around with the cameras, there's just a bit of jitteriness with that, the jitteriness that comes with the OIS. So sensor shift, now that's available on the 13 mini, that is absolutely amazing, and that basically that's what persuaded me to get the 12 Pro Max, is the sensor shift. It's an absolute game changer when it comes to recording video. Like, forget about all those other Android phones they have. Like, this is the truth. Like, if you're recording video, you want an iPhone with sensor shift image stabilization, and no one in the competition has done anything different. And correct me if I'm wrong, and I probably have some people coming for me saying like, oh, my S21 or my Mi 11 Ultra records real smooth. It just doesn't compare. I'm sorry. You can try, I'd like to be proven wrong by Android one of these days, but iPhone's the absolute video king. Like, yeah, sure, photos, S21 Ultra, Mi 11 Ultra, whatever, definitely better than the iPhone because of their bigger sensors, but for video recording, iPhones are still king. So both of them also have similar performance. They both have 6-core GPUs, 6-core CPUs, 4-core GPUs, and a 16-core neural engine. Now, obviously, the 13 mini's got the A15 Bionic, which is a little bit more efficient, and then you're not getting the extra GPU of the Pro, which honestly is very marginal differences in that. You're not really going to get that much extra performance from an extra GPU core. But yeah, both of them perform very similarly. One of my don't likes about the 13 mini is that it does heat up, but it's kind of understandable because it is a smaller form factor. So if you don't like heat on your phones, then go for the bigger one. But it's not bad. It's something you can deal with. Both of them have ceramic shield. Both of them have IP68 water resistance, which gives you up to 6 meters of depth for 30 minutes. I've never tried it, but it's a nice to have. If someone pushes you in the pool, or if you decide to drop your phone in the water for a swim, these will hold up, and they've got the same durability, although this one is aluminium and this one is stainless steel, which this definitely feels more premium, feels more hefty, but the non-glossy sides I like, because you don't have to worry about wiping these. Both of them have MagSafe as well, so you have that kind of suite of Apple accessories, although the Mini charges at 12 watts, if I'm correct. I don't know if they've changed that, because I definitely know the 12 Mini only charge at 12 watts with MagSafe, whereas the bigger phones can do 15 watts. I don't know if that's changed with this, but I wouldn't imagine it would change, because this is the same form factor as the 12 Mini, so if they introduce extra 3 watts, it would heat up the phone. So yeah, not the biggest deal in the world. I basically cable charge all my iPhones anyways, because I don't know if anyone else experiences this, but I swear the iPhones heat up more during wireless charging than the Galaxies do. So for that reason, iPhones get cable charged. You get same storage options on both of these phones. So they both start at 128 gigs. So I've got the 256 on each because just in case I need to film some videos, I've got that extra storage. I'm not filming any ProRes videos, and you can't do ProRes unless you have a 13 Pro or 13 Pro Max. But yeah, both of them have the same amount of storage that you can get on the devices. You actually have a more pixel dense display on the 13 mini, but the specs are now the same between the 12 series and the 13 standard series. So you get 800 nits of brightness and then 1200 peak brightness for HDR. Again, that was one of the things. I mean, then again, I didn't really notice it so much in day-to-day use when I had the 12 mini and when I was using the 12 mini alongside the 12 Pro Max. Gosh, these phones are are a mouthful. Either way, the display is brilliant on this. I haven't really noticed it dimming. I think I remember watching Zolotech's videos and he said that his 12 Pro Max dims the display quite often. I haven't really experienced that with my phone, but maybe I'm not pushing it hard enough, so who knows. That's probably something that you might have to be aware of, especially because this 13 mini does heat up more frequently. It does heat up a lot more often than the larger devices. They both have the same connectivity, they both have 5G, they both have eSIM, which is amazing. Now in the international markets, Australia, New Zealand, you don't get millimeter wave, and that's actually not a bad thing because it does save on battery life, and we don't have any millimeter wave antennas to kind of take advantage of it anyways, so I'll take the battery savings over the faster wireless speeds. No, don't really need it if I'm going to be honest. But then again, I haven't used it, so how would I know if I'd need it? Okay, apart from battery and size, what's missing and what is gained? So obviously, if we flip the phones over, you're missing a couple of things from the back. So you're missing the telephoto lens and you're missing your LiDAR sensor. Now LiDAR, something I can do without. I barely use the AR functions, and it's nice to have when you're trying to focus in low light, but honestly the performance is negligible, and it's the A14 and 15 Bionics are smart enough anyways to be able to negate that. You do lose portrait night shots. Again, that's not a feature that I used all that often. Now with the telephoto lens, now normally I would say like, oh, I would prefer an ultra wide lens over a telephoto lens, and that is mostly true, but once I started using the 13 camera, I kind of realized that I missed the telephoto lens more than I thought I would. Again, not the biggest deal in the world. I don't really use my phone camera to be zooming in on things, but having the telephoto, it's a nice to have. And it's definitely something that you don't really think about, especially if you're going from a phone with it to a phone without it. Again, no ProRAW, and I have already talked about night mode portraits. Again, I don't really use those features, so not the biggest deal breaker for me, although some people who use this as a main camera who want that Pro RAW, you gotta step up to a Pro model, unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, if you are buying this phone to be like a main camera, go for the Pro. It's just that simple, because the camera is just unmatched. Now for a good smartphone camera, the 13s, they excel in every way possible. As I said, I don't really use a lot of the camera features on these phones because I've got this camera, first of all, my trusty A7 III, and now the A7 IV is out, and I'm very tempted, but that's another video. I don't really use my phone camera all that often. I only use it for like stupid little Snapchat videos, and if I'm taking a picture of something cool, and both of them have really good photo taking abilities, and as like in general terms, like both of them are gonna pretty much do the same job. Now with the 13 mini, you gain some features with the camera. So you gain cinematic video, which arguably I feel like is more valuable than portrait mode, night mode portraits, and Pro RAW. The cinematic video is actually, again, thought it was going to be a gimmick, but it's actually pretty good. And I think I will put up a little sample video on here. This was me at Oriental Bay. I was just kind of playing around with it, going back and forth between like this little stick that was pointing up near the shore, and also like a bench chair, which is a similar test that I did with the Note 10 Plus back when that introduced portrait mode video, and Apple does it so much better. Yeah, the cinematic video is really cool, like especially if you're an amateur filmmaker or if you're just someone who wants something a bit more creative about your video. Having that feature just enabled by software is so cool. And I mean, you can only record in 1080p 30 at the max, but just seeing what it can do now, and knowing that it's going to get better, like we'll probably see cinematic mode 4K next year. I mean, Apple's got to ration out the features as they always do. And yeah, I really think that Apple is definitely onto something, and it is vastly better than the portrait mode videos that you get on Android phones. You also get photographic styles in Smart HDR4. Again, negligible. I think the photographic styles are cool in the fact that you can kind of be a little bit more creative, but again, like I love the colors that come out of the iPhone as they are. So I don't really have a need for photographic. I'm not a photographer. I'm very amateur when it comes to that kind of thing. So I played around with them, but I'm probably have to do a bit more playing around with, especially if I'm going to be taking pictures when I travel and all that. Now, you also get dual eSIM support with the 13 series, which is cool if you've got a bunch of trap numbers and you need two of them active at the same time. And then you've also still got that physical SIM slot, so that is obviously still there if you need it. And then you also get the smaller notch on the 13 series. Now, if I pull up something white, it's deeper, but yeah, I've definitely gotten used to it on the 13. I think it makes sense on the 13 mini because you get a bit more room for your menu bar items, your time, and your signal indicators. On the 12 mini, it was a bit silly because it was workable. It was just really small. On this one, you don't really. I don't know. I haven't used the 13 Pro Max long enough to kind of notice the notch, but I feel like, again, I would get used to it. But I feel like there's just a lot of wasted space really on the 13 Pro Max with the smaller notch. It's just Apple's thing. It's just one of those things that you kind of have to live and deal with if you are buying an iPhone or a new MacBook Pro nowadays. Okay, so yeah, those are the kind of differences and the similarities. So in more ways than not, this phone is very similar to the 12 Pro Max, bar screen size and battery. Now, screen size is something that I can deal with, especially now that I've got the Fold. If I want to read something or if I want to scroll through social media, I've got the Fold that I can just bong and have the biggest screen at my disposal. Whereas this one is just a massive phone. It's great. It's a great display, but this is just a lot more convenient. And in terms of battery life, honestly, this has been more than sufficient for me, especially when I pair it up with the MagSafe battery. And how satisfying is this? That it matches the size and the form factor of the 13 mini. Honestly, this is really nice to hold. I honestly don't even like rocking this phone raw dog because it's so small. I always have a case on it. But having that MagSafe battery is a godsend. Alright, sorry folks, the record limit of the A7 III has failed me once again. So we were just talking about the MagSafe battery and why, kind of like a little mini review about it. It's a MagSafe charger that just happens to have a battery on it. Now, if you're value conscious, skip this. Like, this is not for you. Go with the Anker, go with Belkin, or one of these other brands, Zero Lemon, whatever, that have 3-4 times the capacity and cost less. You can charge more devices. Go for it. But you are missing that integration. You don't have the MagSafe. The MagSafe's just not going to be as good. And yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is the integration with software and the fact that you can see the battery percentage and that it limits your battery charge. It limits it to 90%. Now, you can obviously charge past 90%, but for battery health, it's beneficial to charge it just to 90%. And that's what I like about it. It's a good battery preserver as well, because I would much rather charge this 100 times than and have this degrade. And this is something very easily replaceable compared to the battery inside the 13 or inside any iPhone for that matter. So if you are okay with shelling out the extra cash and you're of the mindset that this is a battery extender, then I would definitely recommend this. If you have a 13 mini or a 12 mini, this is a really, really good accessory. And again, if you're wanting something more, go for the Anker, go for the Belkin. Again, going back to battery life, this honestly has been more than sufficient for me. Granted, in these corona times and all that, I haven't really needed to stretch its legs. I haven't been traveling. I haven't really had like a full day that I needed to use. I'm always either at home or in the car where I can charge up the phone. So that's not the biggest deal in the world for me. And I do know, I feel confident enough that the 13 mini paired up with the MagSafe battery, I can get a full day, if not maybe a day and a half, which is similar to that of the 12 Pro Max without the battery. I am confident that that's going to last me. So battery on this is not the biggest deal in the world, but again, if it's your main phone, or if you are conscious, if you're heavy on your phone, then you probably want to be looking at a 13 Pro or a 13 Pro Max. This is not the phone for battery life. Definitely, it's just impossible with a phone this size. But again, apart from that, these phones are so similar, except for this battery and the screen size. And I'm okay with some of the trade-offs that I'm making between the 12 Pro Max and the 13 mini. Having used this as my daily driver, I'm very happy with it. I'm very happy that I made the switch. And I love both of these phones, but this one is just the more lovable device for me at the moment. So that basically sums it up, and I'm going to wrap up this part of the video. It's already gone on way longer than I thought it would, so maybe you're going to be getting 2 30-minute videos from me about these iPhones that people probably don't care about anymore because the new MacBook Pros are out, and I really want to make some videos about the MacBook Pro, but yeah, again, I'll talk about that later. But thank you so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, let me know what your thoughts are, what you're rocking in terms of iPhones, or if you're a Samsung Knight, or if you're Team Xiaomi or Huawei, whatever, or if you've got a 13 mini, you've got a 12 Pro Max, you've got one of the new 13 series phones. How's it going for you? What are the things that you don't like, and in kind of preparation for my next video, which will be coming out very shortly, I assume, at least about a week from this one, if you're watching this in real time, and if you're watching this as if it's just come out. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like on the video, hit the subscribe button if you're brand new and you want more iPhone content, you want more phone content, you want more tech content, which I'll be doing the tech content until I can travel. So it's gonna be a few more tech videos, I think, unfortunately, which, you know what, I'm not even mad about because I love tech. Okay, rambling on for way too long now. I'll catch you guys in the next part, which will be out very shortly, where I will break down the 13 mini, what I like, what I don't like, and what my overall thoughts are about the 13 mini and the iPhone 13 series. So I'll catch you guys in that video. My name is Richie, and again, thank you guys so much for your support. I really appreciate it, and it means a lot to me that you guys are engaging with the video. Alright, take care. Peace.